Welcome back to 5 Minutes with Philly FileMaker. We are at phillyfilemaker.org. I'm Jason Mundock. Don Levan is with me from Vanguard Custom Software out of the New York City area. Don, you have two sessions this year.
Yes.
At DevCon. Let's start with whichever one you want to start with and tell us about it.
Sure. I'm doing two sessions which I conceptualize as bookending around the craft of FileMaker development. The first is on programming, and it's called, I call it Small Things Loosely Joined, Lessons Learned from Other Programming Environments. FileMaker has it named slightly different, but it's Monday morning at 9.
Okay.
And the other is on the fundamentals of exceptional interface design. And that is, I said Tuesday at 9, and the other one is Tuesday at 4:45.
Okay, both Tuesday.
Yes.
All right. Now, you were in Philly this spring talking about and maybe doing a test run through the interface.
Preview of the interface session.
Tell us about that session and what you hope to cover.
Well, this is an interface design session that's much more on the philosophy and practice of interface design more than the graphic design piece. I'm a clinical psychologist by training, and so what I find really interesting is trying to figure out how to identify the right problems to solve. Make sure that you're solving the right problems, how to get people to tell you what it is that they're really struggling with. Not just what they say they're struggling with, but to make sure you understand what the real issues are. And then how to design a solution that takes into account humans' abilities and limitations so that it's easy to learn and efficient to use.
So this is user experience.
This is user experience
not
and interaction design.
Color palettes and things of that nature. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the lessons learned. I love that name. The small things
loosely joined.
That's a great session name. Talk a little bit about what you're going to be getting into with that session.
So, when I started programming, I found that there were common problems that we face all the time.
Yeah.
Humans are limited. We can only keep in mind a few things at a time.
Sure.
We have one locus of attention. We can only attend to one thing at a time. So very quickly, when you get beyond one screenful, it gets so big that you can't keep everything in your mind. And so, when you try to change things, it breaks. You forget what you've done over here, so you break something over here. Things are interconnected, and it's really problematic. But the constant is that businesses are constantly changing.
Sure.
What our clients need now is not what's going to need 3 or 6 or 8 months from now.
Absolutely.
And so we have to figure out how to code in a way that's stable, easy to change, easy to modify, and reusable. And so this session really takes the principles of the Unix programming language and applies the ones that are most relevant to FileMaker. Create small things that are loosely joined. If you have to fail loudly and as soon as possible. And separate the data from the logic so that your scripts are stupid and robust.
Gotcha. That's great stuff.
Yeah.
That's Tuesday. Which one's the morning?
Small Things Loosely Joined is in the morning at 9, and the Fundamentals of Exceptional Interface Design is Tuesday afternoon.
What about the history of Vanguard Custom Software? Tell me the story of how it came together and where you're going in the future.
Sure. I've always liked programming. I started programming when I was 13, but it was always a hobby of mine. I worked as a news photographer, and then I worked as a psychologist. And while each of those places, I built databases to manage my workflow and the workflow of the clinics where I was working. And at some point, about 10 years ago, I had built something that was working great for me. I showed it to a boss, and he said, "That's great. Can you redo it in FileMaker? Can you do it so everybody can use it?" And there were about 90 psychologists there at the time. And I said, "Sure, why not?" And I got some books. I started learning.
We all kind of back.
I started learning,
yeah.
It was well timed. My wife and I were going to get married. We were going to have kids. I realized I had to figure out how to make more money than I was as a psychologist, and not have to deal with the insurance. And so I started thinking about this hobby as whether it could be a career. And so I went to DevCon 6 years ago looking for a mentor, looking to apprentice with somebody as a subcontractor. And I met Albert Herm Alvarez from Small Company. And I got the opportunity to work with Albert for 2 years.
Wow.
And
it's a great opportunity.
It was a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Albert is a wonderful teacher. If he doesn't win the election, which he's running for right now, and we really hope he does, he's running for Miami City Council, there may not be another master class, but if there is, you should take it because he's a fantastic teacher. I really enjoyed. I learned a lot from him, and so it was a great experience.
So when did you transition away from?
So I left Smallco in 2007, and very quickly got hired as a consultant by TechServe, the Mac store in New York City, to convert their database system that started in Nutshell to FileMaker 9. And it was a sprawling 90 files, 91 tables, millions of records that are archived every couple of years, every 6 or 8 months.
Yeah.
And it was just this huge system. And so we did that, and it took 6 months to do it. And at the end of it, they asked me to stay on. So for the last couple of years, I've been there 3 times, and I'm in my business 2 days.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so this coming September, in a month, I'm now leaving there, and I'll be 5 days in my own business. And it's been a slow, sort of gradual bootstrapping process, but I've been really fortunate. My business has continued to grow and grow over the meltdown, and I guess I'm luckier and I'm in a good place because it's just, I work a lot and I'm having a good time.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining me and taking the time to talk about this.
Sure.
I know it's a busy week for speakers.
Yeah.
So, and come back to Philly and see us again.
I would love to. Can I just share one thing real quick?
Yeah,
sure. In October 13th through 15th in New York City, myself and Ernest Coe are going to give a 3-day version of the Fundamentals of Exceptional Interface Design.
Awesome.
In New York City.
Okay.
It's open for intermediate and advanced developers that want to really learn interaction design. And
where can we go on the web to find out more about that?
fmcraftworkshops.com.
Okay.
Or vanguardcustomsoftware.com, and you'll see the Craft Workshop link there.
Awesome. You know what? We'll put those links up at the PhillyFileMaker.org blog as well. So any of those places will link to you.
Great.
So that's 5 minutes with Philly FileMaker. Don Levan from Vanguard Custom Software. We'll catch you next time.